is investigating what happened the night before, where they found several criminals with the extremities of their bodies tied in knots. Meanwhile, back at Polka's apartment, he transfers Polka's soul into a stuffed shark and returns his beloved drone to Takumi. Polka apologizes to Polka's soul and tells him that he will have to continue using his identity for some time. Misaki walks in and falls in love with the stuffed shark, squashing it between her boobs. Polka's soul is turned on and Takumi tells him that he is depraved to desire the person who murdered him. Polka reveals to the group that in this world there is little mana and that therefore he cannot use his magical powers as he would like. He tells them that he wants to absorb tormented souls so they can rest in peace. He also informs them that he can consume precious stones such as emeralds or rubies to increase his power, but Takumi gives him a reality check by telling him how expensive those stones can be. In the mind of the group, the question of what to do to get money and be able to buy all those stones begins to settle. The police set out to investigate the area. Iwano takes it upon himself to go to Clarissa's bar because he senses that she has something to do with what happened. Arase surprises Polka and Misaki while they were going back to the apartment after going to a gemstone store and seeing that they will need a lot of money to buy them. Arase jumps up and seizes Takumi's drone, demanding to tell him everything Takumi knows about what happened the night before. Polka intervenes, telling him that this drone belongs to his friend, and Arase tells him that he shouldn't hang out with trashy criminals like Takumi. This pisses off Polka, who remembers that in his world there were also officers who claimed to do justice and killed everything that was against them. Polka tells Arase that he is the one who decides who his friends are and that Takumi was a much better person than him. Arase teases him that Takumi is not his friend and that he could betray them the first chance he gets. This enrages Polka even more, and Arase feels a strange energy in the boy, increasing his curiosity towards him. Takumi tells Polka that Arase is a very dangerous person, and that despite being a policeman, he is considered more dangerous than many criminals. Takumi asks Polka to get away as soon as possible, and not to say anything. But Misaki springs into action and kicks Arase in the stomach, saying that she was in self-defense since Arase was harassing them. Misaki and Polka take the opportunity to escape from the police. Arase recovers from the blow with difficulty and wonders what kind of girl has superhuman strength. Arase goes to the police station so they can investigate the imprint that Misaki has left on his abdomen, but the print is immediately recognized by an officer who was on the scene. At the police station there's also talk of the lemmings, which are a kind of superhuman that move very quickly. They are resistant to bullets and have incredible strength. They can also be stealthy and virtually invisible. While all this is being reported, we see the mysterious lemming from the previous chapter entering the police station and recording all the evidence of the case without being detected by anyone. As Iwano continues to drink at Clarissa's bar, his partner calls him to give him the description of the suspects he found earlier. Just at that moment, Polka and Misaki arrive at the bar, and it's the perfect occasion for Iwano to find out more. Takumi asks his friends to get out of there as soon as possible, but it's too late, and Arase has already arrived to ambush them. Iwano and Arase are preparing to question our characters when suddenly the lights go out and the lemmings enter. Polka is surprised to see him because he detects a terrible assassin aura and thinks that possibly this being has great mana management. The assassin lemming is revealed to be on a superhuman level, and Clarissa's bodyguards worry about their boss's safety. But Clarissa reassures them that if Lemmings wanted to kill someone, he wouldn't have done it. Arase wastes no time and tries to catch the lemming, while Misaki tells Polka that this assassin is much more dangerous than the police. Polka can see the aura of Lemming and realizes that behind him hundreds of souls fear him and hate him at the same time. Lemmings easily gets rid of all the police, but Arase is not so easy to take down. In addition, the policeman feels excited to have found a worthy rival. They start to fight, in which Arase stabs him with a broken bottle, but it has no effect, and Lemmings controls each of Arase's blows. Lemmings gets tired of the encounter and with impressive speed captures Misaki while he escapes. Polka wants to save Misaki, but remembers that if he shows his skills, the police will never stop hunting him, and that would end his aspirations to live a life of peace and tranquility, so he holds back. The one who doesn't hold back is Arase, who tries to stop the lemming, but he kicks him against the wall. Polka relates the lemming to Sir Shagrua, who destroyed him in his world, as both are beings that have surpassed their normal abilities. This creates a psychological transfer that overwhelms Polka's patience, and giving up his dreams of a life of peace and tranquility, he decides to attack lemmings to save Misaki. Polka uses his magic to rescue Misaki, and Iwano wonders, "What the hell is that?" Upon seeing Polka's giant skeleton hand, Clarissa helps Polka by turning off the lights in the place. Lemming decides to get Misaki back and avoids all of Polka's blows. He ends up breaking the skeleton hand that had Misaki, and it seems that all is lost. But Misaki launches into the attack and bites Lemming to paralyze him. And as if that weren't enough, she stabs with a fork with his saliva. Somebody help this girl! The poison isn't completely effective thanks to Lemming's extraordinary strength, but it immobilizes him long enough for Polka to attack him with a huge spell and a skull the size of King Kong. Then we jump in time and discover that Lemming has not died. Instead, he meets with his client to tell him that he could not complete the mission and that Polka is still alive. We then see Takumi congratulating Polka for surviving that assassin and asking him if the spell he cast didn't consume too much of his strength. But Polka responds by saying that thanks to all the spirits that were around Lemming, he was able to fully recover. The next day, Polka announces that he wants to open a business to earn money and be able to buy the precious stones, but after several discussions with the group, they come to the conclusion that the best thing to do is open a witchcraft clinic, where Polka can use his abilities to talk to the ghosts. Business is great, and they earn 1,000 yen in a week. Polka is very happy, and since everyone helped to make it come true, he decides to divide the money equally. But Polka's soul says that he didn't do anything, and asks that they distribute his part among the whole group. Polka wonders what the past life of Polka's soul was like, and why he has so much detachment from money. Takumi is about to reveal some information that will clear up his doubts, but at that moment a group of men in suits bursts into the room, and 2 teenagers show up. They are Kazuki and Shizuki, the nephews of Polka's soul. The nephews complain to their uncle for having disappeared for so long, and Polka tries to explain to them that he is not their uncle, but rather the corpse guard. The nephews tell him that he should stop fooling around, but that he should keep the nickname because it's very cool. Shizuki informs his uncle that this time they are coming as clients to ask him a question. But Polka gets nervous and doesn't want to be discovered, so he won't lose the peaceful life he longs for so much. So he asks her supposed niece to attend her in another moment. The nephews get angry, and Takumi starts arguing with them and threatens them, saying that if they don't leave he will call the police. Shizuki is about to jump on Takumi, but his bodyguard stops her. Then Polka approaches them and hugs them, telling them not to worry, that he'll make sure that nothing happens to them. As we approach Polka, we realize that he is having a vision of a ghost, and that is why he has agreed to protect the nephews. Polka tells his nephews that he is not Polka, but that he knows him, and that the next day he will go to his house to visit them. When the group of friends is alone, Polka takes the opportunity to tell them that he saw a deranged spirit, and that she begged for someone to protect those kids. Takumi now reveals that the Polka Soul family owns the Shinomiya Bank with a fortune of millions of dollars. He also tells that Polka is the second son of the family patriarch, and that if something happens to his father, Polka would receive a large inheritance. Takumi and Misaki are sure that the one who ordered Polka's death is one of his family members. Then we see Kazuki and Shizuki talking about the meeting with their uncle and his strange behavior. But when they get to their limousine, we see that Takeru, the brother of the 2 kids, is waiting for them inside the car. This reveals that Takeru was Lemming's client, and therefore the one who had Polka killed. Takeru asks about Polka, and the kids reply that he will come to the mansion tomorrow. Polka and Misaki head to the mansion the next day. Polka is worried about the kids and what could happen to them. When they arrive at the mansion, they're impressed by how big it is, and the twins come out to greet them. At that moment, Polka sees how the spirit of the twins' sister is behind them, trying to protect them. We see Takeru coming out to greet Polka, and he asks him what happened to the long trip he was planning to take, and Polka tells him that now he is someone completely new. Takeru asks who the girl is who accompanies him, and Misaki introduces herself with her real name. This surprises Polka, who thinks that Misaki is acting amazing. Once inside the mansion, they meet to eat in the family room, and we can see more members of the Shinomiya family. Misaki says that Polka helped her and saved her life on several occasions. Takeru finally recognizes Misaki's name and asks if she is the heir to the Sakiyama family, but Misaki tells him that her family no longer exists. In a flashback, we see how Takumi provides information about the Shinoyama family and tells Polka that his supposed older brother is 48-year-old Gaku Shinoyama, and Polka is the son of his father's second wife. He also advises them to be careful around Takeru, since he's in charge of the Shinoyama family security and is used to doing the family's dirty work. Returning to dinner, we meet Kiri, Takeru's wife, who is very jovial and helpful. There's also Saya, Takeru's sister, and the twins. She's an unemployed freak, just like me. One of Polka's relatives, whom we will call the unimportant relative, tells Polka that he has a great future ahead of him, but not even Polka's soul hidden in the stuffed shark manages to identify who that guy is who claims to be his relative. Suddenly, Rozon Shinoyama makes his appearance in the dining room, and Polka gets up to greet his father. Rozon tells Polka that he prefers to talk to him in private so that he can tell him everything about the trip he made. Polka tells of all the adventures he has had, but his father surprises him by asking him who he is. Polka is surprised, but his father tells him again that he knows that he's not Polka, even though he has the same body as his son. Rozon threatens Polka with a katana and asks him if his son is still alive, but Polka is startled when he perceives a great murderous energy. Polka asks his father to trust him, and then he will explain everything and runs off to protect the twins. Rozon is thoughtful when he sees the speed and force with which Polka moves, verifying that this is not his true son. When Polka leaves, Rozon sees a large explosion in the distance. We see in a flashback how the sister of the twins goes to look for her little sister's bag, and by chance she sees the unimportant relative talking to a mysterious person. She hears how they plan to kill the twins and that the bread will take a few years, so no one can suspect anything. The sister is discovered and runs to escape, but she is turned to ashes before she can get to warn the twins. Returning to the present, we see how in the mansion they try to put the twins safe from the explosions, and one of the bodyguards takes the kids to a safe place. Meanwhile, we see Iwano and Arase meet with a dangerous criminal called the Ghost Loner. This criminal is the only one who is at the level of the lemming who beat them up recently. The policemen tell him about the case of the fire-breathing monster from the past chapters and the relationship that all the strange cases they are investigating have. Upon returning to the mansion, the twins realize that everything is a trap because the bodyguard directs them to a place with no exit. But the twins are saved by Misaki, who tells her sister's spirit that even though she can't see her, she will take care of her siblings. The killer drops the mask he was wearing, revealing his true face. As Misaki and the assassin fight, she asks if it was Rozon who hired him, but the assassin says that he won't reveal that information. The two engage in a huge battle, in which flames cover the entire place. The twins are trapped by fire and about to be crushed by the burning ceiling, but Polka arrives to save them and remind them that her sister has always been behind them, trying to protect them. Seeing that his bread doesn't work, the murderer tries to escape using another mask, but Polka confronts him, telling him that even though he wears many masks, his soul is still just as dark and miserable. The killer and Polka start to fight in the middle of the flames, but suddenly Lemming appears from behind and smashes the killer's head into the ground, then turns to tell everyone to be quiet with a sign, and then mysteriously disappears. We then see Takeru meeting with the unimportant relative to tell him that the assassin he hired to kill his siblings is already on his way to jail. The unimportant relative pretends to not know what he's talking about, but some members of the Dragon Palace appear, a group that is in charge of all the dirty jobs of the Shinoyama family. Looks like the relative is in deep trouble. Meanwhile, at the police center, we see how the criminal tells Iwano that his investigation is not correct and that the fire-breathing monster is not a common criminal. So therefore, the murderer they just caught is not the real fire-breathing murderer. Later, we see how the supposed fire-breathing murderer begins to burn in flames, and the agents get out of the car before it explodes. Finally, we see the silhouette of a girl on a bridge singing a mysterious song. Then we discover that the famous Lemming is a member of the Dragon Palace, the organization that is in charge of doing the dirty work of the Shinoyama family. Now everything makes sense, and we understand why Lemmings helped Polka against the fake arsonist killer. After the incident at the Shinoyama family mansion, Polka meets with his father and asks him to please get rid of all his guards, since he has to confess a secret to him with total discretion. As the old man is very gossipy, he agrees. Just kidding. I'm sure he loves his son. Well, going back to the topic, Polka reveals to his father that he is a being from another world, and although the father finds it hard to believe it, he has no reason to doubt it, and that would perfectly explain all the strange things that have been happening around his family. Later we see Takaru thanking Lemmings for saving the twins, but apparently this Lemmings is an honest guy and tells him that he wasn't the one who saved them, but that Polka was already there when he arrived. Back at the family reunion, Polka's father threatens Misaki, saying that she was the one who killed his son, and asks her if she is ready to die and if she's afraid of death. Misaki replies that she is not afraid of death, and tells him that he is a good person, and I don't know what else. Pure nonsense. The truth here between us is that Misaki is a zombie, so obviously she's not afraid of the dead. Duh. The father is about to cut Misaki into small pieces, but Polka's soul jumps to the rescue, whom from now on we'll call Little Polka, so as not to be confused with the corpse guard that inhabits Polka's body. As I was saying, the stuffed toy shark comes out to defend his murderer, and this show of generosity ends up convincing the father that the soul of his son is really in that stuffed toy. The patriarch of the family tells Polka that if what he needs is a body to transport the soul of his son, he can provide him with the body of a super sophisticated robot. But little Polka protests and says that he prefers to be transferred to the body of a giant robot in the form of a shark. Apparently little Polka likes his new figure. In the end, everyone decides that the best option is for little Polka to stay where he is, since there are still murderers who want to kill him, and the stuffed shark will never arouse suspicion. When they finish the family reunion, little Polka asks the others to take some time to visit his pet, to which Polka and Misaki agree. Meanwhile, at the police station, Iwano and Arase continue to question Ghost Loner, but the criminal makes fun of them, and when he asks for some evidence to learn more about the fire-breathing murderer, the policemen refuse. Then the Ghost Loner tells them that he will have to verify his doubts personally. As if he had dropped a ninja-style smoke bomb, the criminal disappears, leaving the cops in a very bad situation. Then the police alert the entire police department about the escape of the criminal. Iwano is furious, since the criminal got away right under his nose. The Ghost Loner is a dangerous criminal who does everything for pleasure, to attract the attention of people who have magical powers. But in the end, he never manages to find these kinds of people, and they are all imposters who want to pass themselves off by supernatural beings. They also reveal to us that the Ghost Loner gave himself up only to justice, and that there was never proof of any crime. Returning to our protagonists after having visited little Polka's pet, which turned out to be a large white crocodile, Polka and the group better understand little Polka's tastes and personality, and now it doesn't seem so strange that he wants to stay in the body of a toy shark. Polka has bought a radio older than my grandmother to learn a little more about this world. Takumi protests, saying that for the money he paid, they could have bought a computer. While testing the radio, they learn of the death of the fake arsonist and the escape of the Ghost Loner. When the police see the news of the Ghost Loner's escape, they are surprised, since they had given the order not to give any information to the press. But their surprise is great when they discover that the news narrator is the Ghost Loner himself, who, with the help of other criminals just as dangerous as he, hacks the country's radio and television signals to announce his return. He tells the entire nation that he will restart his activities in a week, so they better prepare for chaos. We then see the real fire breather killer meeting with the Ghost Loner. I find it super weird since they're in front of each other, but they still talk on the phone. Couple of freaks. Meanwhile, in the apartment, Takumi interrogates Polka, asking him if there were no murderers or dangerous criminals in his world. Polka responds by saying that he didn't come out of his cave much, but he heard something about it once. He also tells them that Lemmings would be a dangerous character in his world, even if he didn't have magic. Then Takumi asks him about more creatures in his world, and they start comparing mythical creatures from this world with Polka's world to see if there is any relationship between the two worlds. We return to the top of the building where the two criminals are meeting. They confront each other, and after several attacks from the fire-breathing assassin, Ghost Loner tells him that it is a pity that he's not a supernatural character, or that he does not control fire through his mind. The arsonist tells him that he's an idiot and that he's wasting his time, and attacks him again. But Ghost Loner tells him that he already discovered his secret to make fire, and that he feels very disappointed. Then he proposes to join forces to meet the beings that have powers and are supernatural. He also tells him that there is a new character that has come to town and asks if he wants to meet him. Back in our protagonist's apartment, someone knocks on the door, and we see that it is Saya, little Polka's niece, who comes with a giant shark as a gift, and with the news that from now on she's moving to live with her Uncle Polka. What? Thank you very much for watching the full video. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and activate all notifications so you won't miss any of our summaries. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it and comment what you thought, and if possible, share it with your friends. See you until next time.